doing today? My name is Spectrum Dominus, and today we are cleaning cards for a PSA submission, our 5th submission, back to going. And I say this every time we do one of these submissions. We're going to start picking it up and going more often now. I really do mean it this time. I really do mean it all those times too, though. So if it's 3 or 4 months before we do our next submission, then life got in the way. You know how it is. But this is part 2. We've done our first 14 cards, which were 5 for Shane the Bartender, 3 for Sugar White, and then 6 cards of mine that were previously graded at other companies that we cracked on screen and cleaned. So those at 14 are ready to go. Then we have 3 more groupings here. We're doing 11 today, and then 10, and then 11, or 11, 11, 10, whatever. And those will be the final 32 cards to make a 46 card shipment. Very excited about the size of the shipment. I'm excited about the cards that are going to, although I am not excited in terms of expecting a lot of high grades. We are sending cards, and we always do this, that we know we're going to get a 7 on. But I want it to be slabbed as a 7 with hopes that I'm wrong and it's an 8, rather than just sitting out there and willy-nilly in the atmosphere. I like it having slabbed. It's going on my wall. It's not going to trades anyway, so I'll put it up as a 7. If I ever get another one and I get a higher grade, then it subs out and I sell off the 7. So that's fill the holes first, then we worry about the grades. But without further ado, we're just going to jump right into this. We got 11 cards to clean, and here we go. And I'll give you details as always. I'll give you details on the cards as we clean them. For the first time, I'm going to go in reverse order. You're like, reverse order? Usually I have the stack here and I take the top card off, which means I show you the best card right off the bat. And then it works its way down. So I turn the stack over. Not to say that this card is a bad card, just I literally go through and say, okay, this is the one I want first, and now I want this one, and I put them in order that way, so that when I get down to the bottom, the one that I say I want less, and I can only afford 46 cards instead of 48 cards, I don't have to worry about it. So here we are, we're at card, that would make this theoretically card 24. It's a Tony Gwynn 85 Donruss. For those of you who know me, know I am a big Tony Gwynn fan. He is a top 5 all-time. I say top 5 all-time, and that's probably still a true statement. But my all-time list doesn't include active players. I don't mix my 2 lists. I know it's kind of a weird take, but I wonder if this is. It was good the other day, but now it seems like it's killing like blowing it out. It's probably bad. See, it's maybe if I tilt it up or something. I was going to say it definitely makes the card a little more visible, but it also darkens the area so much. I'm not sure which way I like it. Not like that. Alright, we'll leave it like that for now. All right, so this is 85 Donruss. One of my favorite, probably my second favorite, What's in the Box Wednesday, was I bought myself a box of 85 Donruss. We did not do great in that box. We did not pull we pulled a Clemens rookie, I believe. I know we did, but I believe we pulled only one, and it wasn't in the best condition. We pulled several cards, but there's I don't remember who the rookies are in 85, but it was like everything I was looking for, most of it was like, no, I didn't get it. But I did get the Gwyn. I got the I think I got 2 Ripkins, which may be going today, but they're pretty badly off center, but we're sending them anyway. And I say today, I mean this shipment. I don't think I'm cleaning them today. They'll be in a future video. We got the Mattingly, which is definitely going in this shipment. But again, the only reason that I sent the Kirby Puckett in a earlier shipment, which is what we bought it for, was the Kirby Puckett rookie. Got a 9 on it. Very happy with that. The only reason that one got sent, and all these cars are getting sent now, 2 or 3 shipments later, is because I don't expect any of these to be 9s even. So, but again, this is one of my guys. It's an older one. It's, you know, year 3, because rookie is 83, so 84, 85, 83, 84, 45. So it's a year 3 card of the greatest hitter of all time, probably, and I'm okay with a 7. So I'm hoping that comes back at least a 7. We'll see what happens. All right, this next one here is not a high value one, but I think of it like the Nolan Ryan that we got the 10 on. If this 10s, it's just an iconic look card. I said to the other day to Shane, the bartender, we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I'm sending the McGuire 89 Upper Deck. And he was like, oh, is that the one where he's standing with the bat? And I was like, yep, the camera's from the bottom. And it's like, yeah, it's just an iconic looking card. I'm not going to say well with the 89 Upper Deck grades. I got an 8 on the Griffey, and I got a 8 on the Randy Johnson, and I got an 8 on the John Smoltz, and I got maybe a 7 on the Jim Abbott. And this is the first one I'm sending since that shipment. So that's the only other one I got. I don't even think I got a 9 at all. I got a 10 for the Nolan Ryan, and then 8s or lower on everything else. So I didn't do well with the 89 Upper Deck, but I'm a big fan of the set, and I'm a huge fan of this card. And if this one were to come back a 10, even though there are cards, I mean, it's hard. You get going, and it's like, obviously the card that you picked number 1 on the list to go, in this case, the you see, I just saw that corner, and I don't think there's a chance in hell of this getting a 10. But we're gonna go with it anyway, because I've already submitted the order. Maybe that's why you clean them first, but but I was forgetting what I was saying. I saw that corner. That corner's gonna kill me. Oh well, too late now. Sure, I could cancel, or maybe I could even edit this shipment. I don't know, but this is I want this card graded anyway. But yeah, that's one of those iconic looking cards. I love that card, so we're gonna get that graded. Oh, I was saying, yeah, sure. The number 1 card for me is a Tiger Woods rookie, and yes, obviously, and if I only had 5 10s, then it's probably, I would prefer this and this and this, because they're in order. But from a realistic standpoint, this could get a 10, I guess. This could get a 10, and this could get a 10. But that's not getting a 10. That's not getting a 10. That's not getting it. Well, that could get a 10. That's not getting a 10. So when I say something like, I really hope this gets a 10, it has multiple meanings. It's theoretical as far as of the things that are legitimately able to get a 10. Oh, you know what? Did I already clean this that I was in up? Well, we'll do it again. But it also is a case of, would I rather that as a 10, or would I rather this other card as a 10? Well, if I get that as a 10, I never have to send it again. Whereas if I get the other one as a card as a 10, I'd much rather have it as, I guess that's what it works for. Let's look at it from this standpoint. Would I rather have this as a 10, or would I rather have this as a 10? Well, I guess if I was only ever gonna get one as a 10, wow, that's so bright, guys. I'm just gonna do it light off. I'm gonna do it light off, and we'll see if in a future video I can work on the shade a little. You know what? I didn't even realize how much that was affecting things. Got to make sure that light's off in the future. Yeah, that's a little better. But, so what I'm saying is, whatever, this is a 10 or this is a 10. Well, if I was only ever getting one as a 10, and I was never getting another one and never trying again, then obviously I want the bonds as a 10. That's worth more as a 10 than this is. But if I got this as a 9, there's still value to it, and I can go for another 10 later, and I think I will. If I get this as a 9, me going for another 10 later, I don't know that that'll ever happen, and it's useless as a 9. This is, I put it up for $1 on whatnot. This is a 9, I still hang it on my wall until. So it's logic bubbles in my head. I'd like to get that one as a 10 because I can put it to the side and knock it out and never have to worry about it again, if that makes sense. All right, so here's a Cal Ripken. This is from the 83 Fleer. I did not send this in when I sent in the Tony Gwynn and the Wade Boggs rookies because of how badly off-center this is. The card's in really good condition. Aside from that, I believe, I'm pulling it out now, but if I remember right, I was like, man, I wish that cut was better because everything else looks so great on this card. And I'm hoping that when they go and say, well, the centering is a 7 or a 6, but everything else is 10s, that makes it at least an 8. I'd love for that to be a thing. I have trouble believing that a card as badly off-centered as this can get an 8. But that's, again, why we're doing this, to learn. We're trying to figure these things out. If this thing comes back an 8, with that being that badly off-center, it gives me a new hope for cards when I buy wax boxes. As long as they have, as long as they're older and an 8 is still a nice viable option. Now, don't get me wrong. I know this card in an 8 is still got no value on the market. But to me, the difference between a 7 and 8 is 1. And you're like, well, to everyone, the difference between a 7 and 8 is 1. True. But what I mean is, if I have a 7, then I have 3 rungs of the ladder to go up. Whereas if I have an 8, I only have 2 rungs of the ladder to go up to be perfect. Do I ever expect to get this card in a 10? No. But a 9 is a distinct possibility. And if I have an 8, then I only have 1 rung to go. So, and if that card could potentially come back an 8, then there's no reason that this card couldn't come back as an 8. This is the card with the Tony Gwynn that we bought the set for. We got the Wade Boggs rookie, but for me, I wanted this one. This is one of my top 10 guys. He may be right outside the top 10, but he is a starting second baseman on my all-time team. I love me some Ryan Sandberg. I wanted this rookie card almost as much as I wanted the Tony Gwynn. I spent the money on the 83 Fleer set because I could get 2 of my starting all-time great rookies, all-time team rookies. I shouldn't say all-time great. That's too loosely thrown around. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would say they're all-time greats, but that's like saying all Hall of Famers are all-time greats. Well, yeah, they are. They are all-time greats. But at the same time, then you've got tens of thousands is a lot, but thousands of thousands of all-time greats. And I'm like, I feel like all-time greats should be more limited. So I'm not sure Ryan Sandberg is a top 100 player of all time. But he is to me. So it's very similar to the Cal Ripken there. I'm hoping, and the Ripken is not quite as bad as the Sandberg. The Sandberg is a little bit thinner, but not much. There is a chance that the Ripken comes back an 8 and this comes back a 7. I don't know. If I had the choice, obviously I'd want the Sandberg to be the 8. But to be honest with you, it doesn't make that much of a difference. because in the grand scheme of things, these cards as 7 and 8s don't have a lot of resale value, and no matter what they come back, the plan will be to buy another box of this Fleer and try to get better versions anyway. And so upgrades from a 7 to a 9 and an 8 to a 9, it doesn't matter which way it goes, and then the resale value is next to nothing. So as long as one of them comes back an 8, I'd be happy with that. All right, the next 2 cards are the same card, and we were talking about that. These are, like with the Tony Gwynn, these are the Cal Ripkens. Oh, you know what this does though? This puts them in reverse order. We don't want to do that. That starts stacking up and then up with the whole thing. I just realized. You're like, what are you talking about? Don't you worry your pretty little head. All right, so we're doing 2 of these Cal Ripkens. Now, I've always said, in fact, I talked about this recently on one of my videos, that sending 2 of the same cards in can be a blessing or a curse. I don't know which way it goes. I don't know what the thought process of other people are. For me, the thought process is, let's say I could send both these cards in separately, and they could look at them and say they're both 8s. Now you can see they're off-center to the, not nearly as bad as a Fleer, but because it's a black border, the white chipping is going to really kill me. I expect these to come back as 8s or 7s. Maybe even 6s on one. I don't know. But I could send them separately and get a 7 on this and a 7 on this. And then I could send them together, and they could see this one and say, that's a 7. And then see this one and say, well, look at how much more chipped it is. So this one's got to be a 6 if this is a 7. Also, I think that is on the card. We'll find out when I go to clean it. But I think that's on the card. So I don't know that they do that. I don't know that they're humans, so it could be unintentional, and it could still happen. Okay, so the good news is that looks like that was just fluff, but this white dot over there is not. You can see that the up, down, and the left, right centering on this is bad. The Fleer 83s that we were just looking at, the up down is harder to tell because of how the card is. It's not. I think I've decided that I like when cards don't have this. I like when they have hard left right borders, but not when they have hard up down borders. This is a square. Boom, 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 boom. Obviously the card's a square, but I mean the frame. It's just a frame. So you can easily see that there's more black at the top than at the bottom. At this, it's not a hard up down because the sizes are different. You got the names under here. You don't have enough room for a name up top, but you know that they're not trying to put enough room for a name up top. You cut off the name at the bottom. So you don't know. It's supposed to be X amount up and X plus amount down. The bottom's supposed to be larger than the top. And this looks like that's a good thing. Now, one could argue the distance between the bottom of the base and the bottom and the top of the Fleer and the top is supposed to be the same. And thus, if that's the case, it needs to be shifted up a little. But it's not so bad that on site you can look at this and go, oh yeah, this definitely needs to be shifted up. So that I definitely like not having a hard up down. But I do like having a hard left right. I have noticed that when I get a card that it's like, I love Stadium Club. It's one of my favorite cards. I would argue that it's a top 3 card for me. But in fact, I would argue that it might be my number 1 card, except for the early Upper Deck baseball stuff. But because there's no borders, if I send in a card and it comes back a 6, and I don't see anything on the corners and the edges and the surface, I have to assume that it's off-centered, but I can't tell how it's off-centered because there's no frame. So I do like having left and right to gauge that, but the up and down, I just think it's better when there isn't that. I don't know why. I see the logic failure in my thought processing, but I like one, I should like the other. But I don't. All right. So we're doing 2 of these Cal Ripkens. Again, this isn't a big deal card. It's his like 82, so his 4th year card. But anything of my guys, and I was about to say that's like 86 and older, because to me, in my head, I know the junk wax era started earlier than that, but to me, the junk wax era, the true junk wax era, started in 1987. 1987 tops, that is what did it. And maybe that's because that's when I started. But I tend to start, oops, I put the card in upside down. I tend to start things right after they were popular, right after they became popular, so that I don't ever get on the ground floor. Became a Twitch streamer right after. If I had started less than a year earlier, I would have been on, and I would have done much better because everyone and their mother was becoming Twitch streamers the same day I was. If I had become a breaker earlier, I would have done much better because by the time I got in, everyone and their mother was a breaker. Not a lot of mothers out there Twitch streaming or breaking, but you get my point. So I feel like I always hop on the bandwagon of something cool and something I want to be a part of, just too late to actually take advantage of it. And baseball cards was probably the same thing. And that's what I think of. I think, I jumped on in 87. That was the big deal. And it's probably about right. But even so, that's when I consider the junk wax era. 85, 86, all that is still considered part of it. So this is junk wax era stuff. I was going to say anything that's 86 or earlier of my guys being Mattingly, Ripken, Gwynn, Ryan, those guys. And then once 87 hits, even those guys are not, I was going to say not necessarily get sent. At that point, it switches. Ryan still stays in there. Mattingly stays in there just because he's my guy, and I'm going to do an all-mat. I'm trying to get every one of his major, his base regular cards framed, graded. So that's just going to take time and effort, but it gives me something to chase. But then it becomes Griffey and Bonds and McGuire and Bo Jackson at that point. But to be honest with you, the idea of an 87 Cal Ripken or that's not a bad idea either. So maybe it doesn't change at that point. But here's my Don Mattingly. This is the 85 Donos. This is his 2nd year card. Sometime this year, guys. Sometime this year. And I suspect it'll be around November. Because that's when my birthday is. I was going to do it last year for my birthday, but I had the cruise for my birthday, and instead I took $1,000 on the cruise to gamble with. I feel like, for the most part, I'm okay not gambling on the cruise anymore. I think I burnt myself out on it. And because of that, next time for my birthday, instead of bringing that $1,000, I'm going to be buying myself a box of 84 Donruss. That is coming. That's my holy grail. There are 3 cards that I want more than any cards. Card number 1, and they're not in a specific order, I'm just saying them. One is the Nolan Ryan rookie. That would be higher. You're like, how can it be higher than 1? It would be number 1 by itself if he was a rookie by himself on his card. But because it's a horizontal card that he shares the rookie card with someone, it makes it lower. Number 2 is the Mike Schmidt rookie, which is a 4-face card. 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe. Maybe it's just a 2 as well. Shoot, what am I thinking? Am I thinking Gary Carter? I know Gary Carter's a 4-face. But anyway, but still, not a solo Mike Schmidt rookie card. I got to get a dual. and then the 84 Don Ross Mattingly. Those are the three cards that are my top cards that I want to get. All right, guys. This next one, now we're in the final four. This next one here is the 1988, 89, maybe it's 89. Yeah, 89 Fleer. 1989 Fleer basketball, Larry Bird. For those of you who watch, I think I'm pretty sure I put it on video. I better have put it on video. Yep. What's in the Box Wednesday episode. Nope, that's the wrong one. Never mind. PSA reveal. Let's see. It's got to be here. I had to have done it, right? I guess not. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. I definitely should have. So it's got to be somewhere. But I purchased what I thought was a box of 89 Fleer basketball. I thought that someone listed it wrong or something, and I got it for $20-something. And I was ecstatic. And then when after the fact, before I received it even, I realized that I had bought a single pack for $20-something, which makes more sense. I was playing and having fun that day, and I didn't even notice what I was doing. Well, luckily the guy went out of town, and so he shipped me the stuff late, and he shipped me 2 packs. So I paid $10 a pack, or a little over $10 a pack. But in that pack, that set, those packs, I didn't get any Jordan, which is what I was hoping for, but I did get a Larry Bird, and it is centered pretty darn good. I guess the up down is a little up, but and the left right is a little left, but it's centered pretty good, and it's in pretty good condition. I am not a huge basketball fan. I'm not a huge Larry Bird fan. I know he's great, but I just think that this, if it can come back, obviously not going to come back at 10, but if it could come back at 9, then maybe. I don't put this one on Whatnot. I put this in my trading. Like if it comes back an 8, it probably goes on Whatnot for $1. But if it comes back a 9, I could put it in as a throw-in card for trades when I'm trying to build up my trading roster. Also, if it comes back a 9, well, if it comes back a 10, it pays for the packs. It's not going to come back a 10. But if it comes back a 9, I don't know what it is. It's not like I've done the math. It's not like I've looked up the card. But I suspect at a 9, there's going to be someone who has interest in the card. And it's just a matter of wait it out and find the right guy. And you'll gain something from it. So it seems like it's worth it. So I'm going to do it. So this to me is the one card that's worth grading because of condition and who it is, obviously. The next two, however, are basically just because who it is. Because even though I didn't get any of the base cards for Jordan or anything, I did get, each pack had a sticker card, and I got the Jordan sticker All-Star and the Magic Johnson sticker All-Star. Now you can see, especially with the Johnson, the Jordan's a little better, but with the Johnson, it is horribly cut, like absolutely horribly cut. I'm not even sure sending the Johnson in is worth it. In this case, it's a matter of, it's kind of a cool card. I'm going to get it graded to not let it deteriorate. But also, if I send these in together, I'm going to go with the same thought process. Maybe the fact that this one's worse centered than that one gives it a bump. Maybe this one comes back a 6 and this comes back a 7 because of it. So I'm going to send both of those stickers in. You guys know, if you've watched my videos, I waste a lot of money, sending in cards that shouldn't be sent in because of their grades, because of their condition, I should say. Because we know that they're not going to get a 10, and certain cards are okay to send in if you're not going to get a 10. But most cards, at least on the level I'm dealing with, I would say 95 if not higher. See, this has got blue thing on the back too. Like blue spotting. Can't really see it in the camera. But yeah, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. And this is one of those situations where I know it's not going to be good. I know it's a waste of the $25 that it costs to grade it. And it's okay. It's okay. I'm wasting the money because, except for condition, it is a great card to get graded. And I'm just kind of in my head being okay losing that money. And that's why I'm bad at this as a business. I'm okay losing that money to say, hey, look, I've got one of those graded. And hopefully we'll just keep going and slowly, maybe one day I'll end up with a 1989 All-Star Michael Jordan graded at a 10. Because I trade a 7 and something else to get an 8, and then trade an 8 and something else to get a 9, and trade a 9 and something else to get a 10. Who knows? I am very much glad that the Jordan definitely looks better than the Johnson. Don't get me wrong, I like Johnson so much better. But as far as cards go, when card collecting, you either do modern or you do vintage. And for me, vintage is different than what a lot of people consider vintage. But vintage is pretty much anyone that's once you no longer have people playing, it's vintage. Sets, once Jordan retires, several sets, whereas he's the only one in the league still in that set, will become vintage in my head. But these vintage cards, if you want one player, it is Michael Jordan. And I don't mean out of basketball, I mean in general, across any sport. I'll take a Michael Jordan out of any set over any player, pretty much out of any set. All right, the final card, the one that got right in front of those cards, is the Barry Bonds Top Black Gold. Now, if you watched I think the second, I don't know for sure, but I think the second, might have been the first, but submission, I had a Griffey Black Gold. Turns out I have a lot of these Black Gold. I think there were 3 sets of 33. This is card number 1. I think there were 3 sets of 33, or maybe there were 3 sets of 11, and there were 33 total, and then 36 with the ABC cards that had the whole. But anyway, and I'm going to guess somewhere in the vicinity of 15, maybe 12 of these cards. And I plan on sending every single one of them in, no matter the condition. I've never done a lot of things before, guys. This is all new. But I have decided that the set that I'm going to go for to complete the full set graded and then slowly work them up. Like I see people go and show that they have a complete that's not true. A complete 2000X Kaboom set. And that's impressive. And if I liked Kaboom, I'd be even more impressed. And I'm that guy that doesn't like any of those big cards. I don't like Kaboom. I don't like downtowns. I do like color blast. I think color blasts are cool. I would get me a color blast. I mean, I won't get me a color blast because it's too much, but I would keep a color blast. I would not keep a downtown or a kaboom. I would move those in. I would move those and get the value that they have, and while I could. But I think I'm going to put together this set, and I'm going to be happy with this cheaper but not the easiest thing in the world to get set. I've got to figure out, like, it's 1991, right? 1990. So maybe I just start buying 1990 Topps wax boxes, see if they're cheap, and buy them and see if I can pull black golds out of them. But yeah, I got to finish the set and get them all graded. But here we go, guys. These are the 11 cards that are added to the 14. That's the Barry Bonds, the Michael Jordan, the Magic Johnson, the Larry Bird, Don Mattingly, 2 Cal Ripkens, Ryan Sandberg, another Cal Ripken, a Mark McGuire, and a Tony Gwynn, bringing our total up to 25. 25. We've got 21 to go, and I will be doing those in 2 more videos, another 10 and a 10 and an 11. So I'll see you in the next video, part 3. You guys take care. Bye bye.